We have some very important breaking news from the Chagos Islands. Mark White is here. Mark.
Well, this is the island, one of the islands in the atoll, the atoll, which was one of the atolls that a group of Chagossians landed on this week to reclaim that territory, to pile pressure, of course, on the British government. We've just had confirmation from those islanders that the British Indian Overseas Territory Patrol has arrived on that atoll and served those both on the island and on a boat nearby with papers demanding that they leave the island completely and quickly, or they will be arrested. I think we've got some images that we can show you, exclusive images that we've obtained that show you this British Indian Overseas Territory Patrol. You can see it out there. This is the boat where some of the party are on. You can see that effectively it's a glorified rigid inflatable over there, a small patrol boat. But it was there, circled around that area before landing personnel, both on the boat where they're filming these images from, but also they landed on the island itself. Now, there are 5 people on this atoll, 4 Chagossians and the former MP Adam Holloway, and there are 4 others on board the boat. All have been served with these papers.
What have they done wrong?
Well, this is the interesting part. Of course, the Chagossians would say that they are the legitimate government.
Yeah.
And that is why they have returned there to claim back these islands, this archipelago of 60 islands, and of course to pile pressure on the British government. But obviously, the British Indian Overseas Territory, units in that area are responding now. So, as I say, we're told, and this is coming from someone who is on the boat, part of the delegation, who are there along with Adam Holloway, the former MP. He said, we were served on the boat. Chagossians were served on the island. The Chagossians said that we're the government and we're the authority here. We're also told that the senior officer, as part of this British Indian Overseas Territory, a Portuguese fellow, was part of the patrol. They said that they had powers to arrest and seize vessels on the water, but they're unsure how that actually applies to the territory, the land.
This group includes Misley Mandarin, who is the elected First Minister of the island.
Well, yes,
British
indeed.
citizen on a British island.
Well, listen, for the very latest, why don't we go to Adam Holloway, who is with the Chagossian delegation on this atoll. Adam, thanks very much indeed for speaking to us. And is that the First Minister that you're with as well?
It is. I think you should address the first question to him.
Tell us, if you would, Minister, clearly you have this British Indian Overseas Territory Patrol boat coming to the island, serving you with the papers. Tell us what happened and give us your reaction to what happened, please.
This is really appalling, considering we've been exiled from the homeland more than half a century, and now having bio patrol vessel come and serve this to me, a removal order, saying like I have to leave the atoll, my homeland. If I don't, I might be in prison for 3 years or pay a hefty fine of £3,000, which is very appalling to me, and I'm very angry about it.
So what are you going to do? Because clearly the threat is there in terms of the consequences if you do not leave.
They can make a threat much how they want. I'm staying in. So I don't think, and the British public, your viewers as well, going to witness a second eviction of people from their homes.
Yeah, I mean, I actually haven't been served paper because I was in the jungle looking for wells. But this is an extraordinary situation. If you turn the camera, Pascal, this gentleman here, Michel, sitting down on the chair, he was born here, and when he was 14 years old, the troops came and they put him and others, some manacles, onto a ship with their animals in the hold, having gassed their dogs, to Mauritius, where they lived in tin shacks. You were brought up in Mauritius, treated really badly at school, and finally came to England. Now you've got this appalling deal being made with Mauritius, who these guys see as their oppressors. There's absolutely no reason for the British taxpayer spending 38 billion quid and risking the strategic facility at Diego Garcia. And now Michel over there, who was born on this atoll, he who would have loved to have been born on this atoll and was exiled his whole life, they have come back in order to permanently settle these islands. And now, we're being evicted by, I have to say, an absolutely charming crew of two Brits, one Portuguese and one Polish man. This group are seeking to evict Michel, who was born on this island. It's a British island. He has a British passport. And I mean, I suppose the word you'd use for this is what? Outrageous?
It's appalling. Yeah, I'm really, really angry about it. And the fundamental thing is how this government sat down and see this unravel in front of them, knowing half a century ago that happened already. And this is, I'm very angry about that.
Hello, I'm Bev Turner. Now, it can feel like the money in our bank accounts at the moment does not keep up with the cost of living. And maybe there's a solution. I'm here today with the CEO of TallyMoney, Cameron Parry. Cameron, what is TallyMoney?
Well, Bev, with TallyMoney, you get a current account and a debit card, but instead of pounds, you use milligrams of gold as your everyday money.
So why gold?
Gold traditionally is a great store of value. It has, on average, gone up at over 11% per annum for the last 25 years against the pound. It's tripled in value in the last decade. And in the last 2 years alone, it's increased by 50% against the pound. Banks' savings products just can't compete with that level of growth.
But this isn't just about gold. This is about a currency that you guys have created at TallyMoney. Explain it to me as though I'm an idiot.
So, look, people need to be able to hold their earnings and build their savings in a money that retains its value and remains in their legal control and remains theirs to access, away from government control.
Great. You had me at not exposed to government control.
You should feel safe and happy with your money. You should have peace of mind. The more money you see in your bank balance, and that's the type of thing we're trying to deliver, and give people choice in the type of money they get to use every day.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Cameron. Thank you.
Adam, could I just ask you in terms of, you said obviously the crew were charming, but obviously delivering their message with menace, because it is a definite threat there of arrest and consequences. Did they say, however charmingly, what the timeline for actually moving back in there and trying to remove you, of course, as you say, you haven't been served yet, but presumably you will be at some point, and the Chagossians?
Well, I mean, they'll have to catch up with me. There's a big jungle here. But no, I mean, this is really outrageous. I mean, Misley here has been democratically elected as the First Minister. This is British sovereign territory. These people, Michel was born here. Antoine was in his mother, who was 5 months pregnant at the time they were put on the ships. Look, this is where they were born. Their families have been here for generations. There was no reason for exiling them in the first place. That was a crime against humanity if you move a settled native population. And I'll tell you what, if these guys get away with this, it'll be a crime against humanity again. And needless to say, I have been on the phone to two King's Counsel in the last 10 minutes. So, if they ramp this up, they can. But the fact is, these people have a right to live here. And, we've got to right the historical wrong. And if you talk about human rights, it's got absolutely nothing to do with Mauritius. It's about to do with these people. So let's just get a bit of sensible perspective here. And all the while, I can see a patrol ship on the water just out there.
Well, that's what we're concerned about. Obviously, here on GB News, we've been following your plight, the plight of the First Minister and his 3 fellow Chagossians, yourself, Adam, and your crew on the boat offshore. But have they said, given that this patrol boat is still out there, are they likely to try and move in again today to remove you?
Okay,
Will it
can
be
I be
tomorrow?
clear?
Can you let us know when?
To be clear, it's not these guys' plight. I mean, they are exhausted from a very, very long journey to get here over the Indian Ocean, but they're extremely happy. And obviously, it's deeply depressing when your own government's trying to force you off your own land, ethnically cleanse you. In a way, there's a sort of, you want to laugh and cry at the same time.
Yeah, the thing is, we are British, we're here. What is a reason to remove us from here? Adam, if you were in your house in London, what is a reason to move you from London?
Anyway, we'll win this. Who knows? Anyway, I think tonight we're on Mr. Farage's programme, aren't we?
We are.
We'll be able to update your viewers. And by the way, if anyone wants to support the settlement, the Just Giving page, which will pay for things like satellite communications, enabling us to talk to you, please make a donation. What is it again?
Well, just one point to First Minister Mandarin. In terms of where we go from here, we know that the United States are going to Mauritius for talks next week. What would you say, First Minister, to President Donald Trump, who has condemned the deal between the UK government and Mauritius before? What would you say? What would you plead to the President of the United States?
But first of all, the deal is Keir Starmer. He's the Prime Minister of those islands as well. I am the First Minister. President Trump can do what he can to help us. But bottom line, he's our Prime Minister. The decision is in his hand to save his compatriot, his British fellows.
Yeah, well, these human rights people, they think human rights is about giving billions of pounds of British taxpayers' money to an ally of China, the country Mauritius, run by 2 profoundly corrupt families. I mean, the whole thing is absolutely bizarre. And these guys are playing their part by taking back their homeland in preventing that happening and securing the strategic base at Diego Garcia that matters massively to Western security.
OK, Adam Holloway, First Minister Mandarin, thank you very much indeed for speaking to us. We're going to keep in touch, follow the developments, very dramatic developments brought to us exclusively by you guys down there on that remote atoll on the Chagos Islands. But thank you very much indeed.
Complete political mess, this.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
Complete disaster.
The optics of this are absolutely awful. I mean, as they said, this is the second forced eviction, potentially, that we might be witnessing here. That first eviction to clear the way for the base on Diego Garcia. When you heard there how they were just, pushed out of the islands, how livestock and, their pets were gassed in pits.
And lots of people are angry about this one. Please do keep them coming in. Porkins has summed up what a lot of you are saying. Is this a joke? We can't stop illegals landing on our shores. I hope our government is behaving how our government is behaving regarding the Chagos people is very disturbing.
And, these are not illegals.
No,
these are the Chagossian people who were evicted once before, returning, desperately hoping that this time they can make a go of it. And what is happening? You got the heavy-handed arm of the British state going in there, telling them they've got to get out, or face arrest and fine.
And we shouldn't forget the British taxpayer is in this for
Well,
£8 or
exactly.
£9 billion.
Yeah,
It's going to cost.
£101 million every year for 99 years. That's the deal.
Right, Nick.
And it goes to Mauritius, which is thousands of miles away from the Chagos Islands.
With very close links to China, and whatever they say now, what will the situation be, 5, 10 years, whatever
I
down
make
the
a
road?
prediction this is going to cause real political difficulties for Sir Keir Starmer and his chum, the Attorney General, Lord
Exactly.
Hermer.
How much are the
Another
lawyers
human
making?
rights lawyer.
Yeah. No,
That's my
and
prediction.
they're being
Great
treated
story, Mark. Well
poorly.
done.